this lens actually replaced my 16-25 Sony G lens. I would never go to any shoot without this lens in my bag. This is the 17-28 f2.8 from Tamron. It's fast, light, and affordable. And for my style of shoot, for documentaries, events, this is the best lens that you can get for your camera. And today I'm going to tell you the reasons why I chose this lens to live on my rig at all times. We have multiple things to talk about. Why do you need a wide angle lens? In general, if you want to shoot an event, a documentary, or you're covering something, you need a wide angle lens for establishing shots or even for small places where you cannot control the environment around you. I've used this lens on an event for 4 months, although we had the 16-25 available. But the main reason is that I usually shoot handheld and on a gimbal. I just switch between them. So whenever I'm shooting handheld, I use this kind of rig. It's a rigged out ZVE1 with a fan and V-mount battery and all of that stuff. I might have a monitor on top, but I'm using it right now to monitor myself. And if you notice something about this rig is that it's light. I want something light to have on my kit and just to pull out of my bag and start shooting immediately and just put it in my bag, and I can hold that the whole day without getting fatigued. And the second part, when I move to a gimbal, this is an internal zoom lens. I don't have to zoom halfway, try to balance the gimbal and worry about the gimbal getting unbalanced. I just put this lens on a gimbal and start shooting. I can zoom in, zoom out, and it will internally zoom. It doesn't extend like the 28-75 or like the 16-25 from Sony, like the ones that we are comparing to. It has a close focusing distance, so you can just shoot up close to a person. It's not a macro lens, but this is great for close-up shots if you want to get real close. It also has a 67mm front thread, which makes it compatible with all the other lenses in the Trinity, which is the 28-75 and the 70-180. So if you have a set of filters or ND filters and you have this Trinity, you can just buy the same filter and switch between these lenses. I have that in my kit. I have a shimmer diffusion filter and a mist filter on this lens, and I just switch between these lenses because they have the same front filter thread. Now let's talk about the clinical stuff. The first thing is IBIS. It does not have any kind of OIS. You can use the IBIS inside of your camera. If you had a good IBIS or you have dynamic active stabilization like the ZVE1, you can use it with it. The 16-25 is way better. I think it has 8 stops of IBIS. Both of them are amazing. I shot a lot of gimbal-like shots handheld with this lens and this camera. If you have dynamic active, you don't need OIS inside of your lens. It will give you a better result, but you don't need it. If you feel like the shot is still kind of shaky, you can use like any kind of stabilization in post, and it will help you to achieve a gimbal-like movement. And with the 17mm focal length, you can use the dynamic active and still have around 27 or 28mm on full frame, which will give you kind of a wide angle. And with dynamic active, it's the best choice. Of course, I would rather get a 12mm or 14mm. This has a very, very fast autofocus with minimal focus breathing. I actually don't see any issues with it. It doesn't have focus breathing compensation because it's not a Sony lens. Like, I've never had an issue with focus breathing with this lens. Although there's some vignetting, you can go to resolve and just enable some picture profile or de-vignette it in post. I don't mind the vignetting that's happening here. Although it's not the sharpest, it's not like a Sony grade sharp. It is sharp, and if you're using it for videos, it's amazing. For photos, I think it's good. It will do the job. It will take the photos. But if you're using something like a higher megapixel camera like the Sony a7C R or the Sony a7R5 or anything that has a higher megapixel, I would use the Sony lenses. You already bought a camera for the resolution and for zooming and for the edge-to-edge sharpness. Just buy a good lens with it. For video, this is a great videography lens. This is a great event coverage, weddings, if you're doing any documentary, if you're vlogging even, this is amazing. You don't need anything more than that, and it will cost you only $800. I think it will be discounted right now because they have the new version, but if you buy it secondhand or used, or if you get a discount, it's the cheapest option in the market right now. Would not recommend anything more than that if you're shooting videos. Who should skip this lens and who should take it? If you do the same kind of videos that I do, just buy it. It's the best option. You can drop it, you can break it, and you won't be sad. Don't break your lenses though. If you shoot photography professionally, if you shoot something that needs to be zoomed in, I don't think this is the lens for you. This is not a cinema lens. This is just a videography lens. This is actually a photography lens that we're using for video because the autofocus is good. The only thing that I don't like is that it doesn't have any aperture ring or buttons. The 28-75 and the 70-180 have buttons or custom buttons on the sides that you can just use for anything. I usually use it for manual focus and autofocus. And the second thing is the build structure. It's kind of like a plasticky cheap lens, but it is actually a cheap lens, so I don't think you would mind getting this if you're paying between $600 and $800. If you want something that's lightweight, internal zooming, very gimbal friendly. It has a fast autofocus, ultra wide, close-up shots, whatever you want. In a cheap baggage, like you don't have to pay for G Master or G Lens. You can buy this one. You can start out with this lens, even for photography. You can start out with this lens, and as you progress, you can buy the more expensive ones. I love Tamron. I love what they do. I love this lens up to the point that I can recommend it to any person as their main wide-angle lens. Until they release something that's significantly better, I'm not changing that. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below what you want to know about next. And I'll see you in the next one.